in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our county and of those whose interest you have committed to our charge. Amen. Order, honorable members, honorable clerk, kindly confirm whether we have the quorum to transact today's business.
Honorable Speaker, there is quorum.
We can now have the order of business. Order number 1.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Honorable member from Olesos Ward, Honorable Isaiah Minor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Is there any order in which this will come, or I just start with any?
Pardon, Honorable Isaiah Minor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I was asking whether I start with any or there is any order.
You can raise up the statements in your own order of preference.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. So I rise to seek a statement from the Chair on Education regarding the question of ECD teachers and the overseas study programs in the county. This is pursuant to Standing Order number 45A1. Among other things, I wish that the chair informs the House how much ECD teachers in the county are paid per month, and set out clearly in that statement why the pay slips have got figures that finally do not reflect in the gross pay. Honorable Speaker, it is surprising that you would see indicated there probably a basic salary of 29,000, a house allowance of 3,800, and then it is indicated as a special salary. It's about 17,000, and that's the only figure that then comes out there. So I'd like that the chair informs this House how this is done and attaches a sample payslip to enable the House to understand. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, I'd like the Honorable Chair to inform the House whether ward education officers are facilitated when they undertake their activities, particularly so when they travel around the ward and from the ward to the sub-county headquarters. And if so, how much? So I wish that evidence of payment is attached, or if it has not been done so far, that there should be an explanation as to the measures that are being undertaken in order to rectify that situation. Thirdly, I wish that the Honorable Chair, this is regarding the overseas education programs, informs the House whether the county supports any students studying abroad, and if so, provide the names of such students, the amount awarded, the institutions in which such students are attached, and the process of making such awards. Fourthly, inform the House if the county has entered into any memoranda of understanding with institutions of learning, either locally or abroad, and if so, indicate whether the House approved of them, and if not, whether such memoranda are legal. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Chair, Education, will you wish to respond to that particular statement?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank my colleague, Honorable Member from Lesos, Mheshimiwa Honorable Shangu. Honorable Speaker, as the Department of Education, we would like to request for time so that we can clarify on that.
How much time is sufficient for you to respond?
Honorable Speaker, because we have, I've seen in my department, we have a lot of questions. I request that, Honorable Speaker, you give us 2 months.
Honorable Chair, Education, it is surprising that you want to be given 2 months to respond to that particular issue. Anyway, that notwithstanding, I therefore direct to the chairperson to favor this House with a response to that particular statement within 7 days. I think that is sufficient enough. Honorable Isaiah Minor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also wish to seek for a statement from the Chair Health on the subject of medical supplies to health facilities, pursuant to Standing Order number 45A1, and noting that health services or health in itself is a fully devolved function as per the 4th schedule. I wish that the Chair clarifies the following, among others. Inform the House and provide to the House a comprehensive description of the procurement process for pharmaceuticals and non-pharmaceutical medical supplies in the county at all levels of the facilities. Secondly, inform the House how frequently these supplies are made per facility, per ward, and how the county provides for any delays from time to time. I'm thinking here, Honorable Speaker, that there are instances where the medical supplies have delayed for close to 3 months or 6. Under those circumstances, does the county government make make supplies for those months which they did not. Thirdly, provide the name or stock names of farms contracted by the county government to supply medical products, indicating the terms and dates when such contracts were made, if any. Fourthly, provide comprehensive lists or lists of health products supplied during the financial year 2022-23. Indicating the dates of delivery and the quantities. Fifthly and lastly, inform the House on what strategies the department has put in place or is putting in place to ensure constant availability of medical supplies within the county. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Chair, Health.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. With due respect, Mr. Speaker, the Committee of Health and Sanitation, Mr. Speaker, will have a discussion and liaise with relevant departments to respond to the statement in the time, Mr. Speaker, not less than 14 days, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Chair, Health, you've made your application to be granted 14 days to respond to this particular statement, but in the fairness of time and interest of time, we can have it in 7 days. Yes, Honorable Isaiah Minor.
Honorable Speaker, I wish to seek a further statement from the Chair Administration regarding the implementation of Leadership Forum. Honorable Speaker, you may notice that Nandi County enacted the Nandi County Public Participation and Civic Education Act of 2018, which is supposed to give life to Section 91F of the County Government Act 2012. And this act provides for the creation of what is referred to as a Nandi Leaders Forum that is supposed to meet at least twice a year. I am seeking in this statement for the chair to clarify, to inform the House whether the forum has ever met and to submit evidence to that effect if indeed they have. And if they haven't, to inform the House what measures are being put in place to ensure that the county executive complies with the legal requirement as passed by this House. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Chair, Administration, Honorable Matata. You want to respond to that immediately?
No, Honorable Chair, but I would like to request for 7 days to respond to that statement.
Yes, you've been granted 7 days to file a response to that statement.
Honorable Speaker, I would like to seek a further statement from the Honorable Chair of Administration regarding performance management plan of the Nandi County Public Service. Honorable Speaker, I wish that the chair informs the House whether the county executive has complied with Section 47 of the County Government Act, calling on it to design a performance management plan to evaluate county public service and implementation of county policies? If so, attach a copy of the same that is being used currently. And if not, probably what is being done to do the same. Further, inform the House whether the county executive has complied with section 47, 2D and E of the same act, calling on the participation of citizens in the evaluation of performance of the county government. And I wish to emphasize the performance of the involvement of citizens in the evaluation of county performance. In the evaluation of the performance of the county government. And further, that is under subsection E, that such reports, progress reports, are shared publicly. If this has been done, I wish that the chair supplies the House with the evidence, and if not, that the county executive informs the House what it is doing to comply and the timelines that they would require. Thirdly, that the chair informs the House on what and how the sub-county and ward administrators are expected to do while undertaking the coordination, management, and supervisory roles as set out in the law. Unfortunately, Honorable Speaker, I find that this statement ends abruptly.
You can use this one, huh? Is it?
Seems as if, yes, as provided under section 51, under section 50 and 51 of the County Government Act, which indicates that there's the sub-county and the ward administrator are supposed to be involved in service delivery, development activities that empower the communities, and the provision and maintenance of infrastructure and facilities of public service within their area of jurisdiction. In this case, I wish that the Honorable Chair attaches the work plans and the key performance indicators for the said officers while they are undertaking their roles in these areas. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Chair, Administration.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I've heard very keenly to the statements that are sought by the Honorable Chair from the source. And Mr. Speaker, sir, it is actually unfortunate, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the honorable member from Lesos should be the one feeding this House with most of the information that he is asking, because it is by design that he is the chairman implementation. But nevertheless, Mr. Speaker, sir, the matters that have been raised by the honorable chair and the statements that have been sought earlier, as a committee on administration, public service, and ICT, we've deliberated most of these issues, Mr. Speaker, sir. And today, Mr. Speaker, sir, we've made a resolution as a committee. And Mr. Speaker, sir, you will allow me, because of the weight of the issues that have been raised by the members, you will allow me to invoke Standing Order number 187. That there shall be a select committee to be designated Committee on General Supervision to be chaired by the Speaker or in his absence, the chairperson of committees. The Committee on General Supervision shall be a committee of the whole House. Mr. Speaker, sir, as a committee, we felt that the issues that are being asked by honorable members are very much weighty. And for transparency and accountability, Mr. Speaker, sir, we felt that we invoke Standing Order 187 so that we can have the Public Service Board come and face this House as a committee of the whole House, so that members will have time to ventilate most of the issues that have been raised, and to remove the perception that the committee might be protecting the Public Service Board. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable Chair Administration, I have heard your sentiments over the same. Nonetheless, the statement stands referred to the Committee of Administration. Thereafter, you can be able to make such recommendations if need be. So you have 14 days to deliberate on that.
The final statement I wish to make, Honorable Speaker, again goes to the Honorable Member for Administration. I can see already he's becoming overwhelmed, but you will be okay. This one is regarding Public Participation Act implementation. The same act that I have referred to in the earlier statement. Honorable Speaker, Public Participation and Civic Education Act of 2018 provides that public participation is conducted under certain parameters. I wish that the Honorable Chair informs the House whether the County Executive has complied with Section 22 of the said Act, which requires that the Governor shall submit an annual report to the Assembly setting out the public participation methods used, and I want to emphasize the next point, the budget. The budget. And I wish to indicate also that the law provides that the county budgets 0.5 to 1.5% of its budget to public participation. So I wish to know how much was spent in the public participation activities, the platforms availed, and the final use of the input from the public. Further, Mr. Honorable Speaker, I wish to know whether the County Executive has complied with Section 23(1) of the Act, which obligates the County Executive to undertake at least 2 public information forums at the sub-county level, and if necessary, at the ward level. So I wish to know that. Finally, there is a requirement under Section 100, subsection 2 of the County Government Act for a national design framework for civic education. So the law calls for that. What I do not know is whether such a national framework has ever been formulated, and if so, whether the county government, therefore, has also made or designed its own civic education program. And if there is such a program, attach quarterly reports, because the law requires that the county secretary presents this house with quarterly reports on the said public information, civic education programs. Finally, Honorable Speaker, I wish that the chair informs the House whether the governor has complied with Section 92(2) of the County Government Act, therefore, to submit an annual report to this House. And if so, provide the evidence, and if not, give the House the timelines that would be required to comply with the same. And this one is on the civic education. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And that's the last of this. Thank you, honorable members.
Honorable Matata, you seem to be having the responses immediately, or?
Honorable Speaker, the statements, I don't have the response immediately because we need to liaise with the department and with the office of the governor. So maybe on that statement, Mr. Speaker, sir, I will request that you give us more time, 14 days, so that we can compile all the statements by the honorable member, so that when we shall come and respond, we do it once, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, so is 14 days sufficient for you to have
Yeah,
a response?
14 days is sufficient, Mr. Speaker.
You therefore granted 14 days to file a response to that statement. Next order.
Order number 8, motion.
Honorable members, I'm aware that this is a debate that was cut short, and we may be able to resume. Honorable Matata.
Honorable Speaker, before we resume on the motion, Mr. Speaker, I had an amendment on the same motion, Mr. Speaker, sir, and I wish to move the amendment. The motion be amended by deleting the following. Within the next 2 months, put in place and share with the County Assembly deliberate administrative systems to address the shortcomings arising from the management of the county roads machinery occasioned by inefficiency in human resource, lack of accountability for the management of roads machinery and management of fuel, and adding the following words immediately after the words County Executive Committee member responsible for the infrastructure. To, within 14 days, formulate and share with the County Assembly policy framework or put in place administrative measures geared towards the realization of the following. 1, fair, transparent, and efficient formula for the distribution of fuel for road machinery for use in each ward. 2, practical guidelines on prioritization of disbursement of county roads machinery to the wards. 3, workable mechanism for allocating road machinery to areas that require urgent constructions of roads due to unforeseeable emergencies without necessarily prejudicing the ongoing roadworks at a particular ward. And finally, Mr. Speaker, instruction on involvement of the member of county assembly in the ongoing road projects in the wards they represent. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I call Mr. Maindi from Terry Court to second the amendment.
Honorable members, I therefore wish to propose the question, which is that aware that Section 5 of Part 2 of the 4th Schedule to the Constitution of Kenya 2010 bestows the county government with the function of county transport, which includes county roads and county public transport. Further, aware that in realization of this function, the County of Nandi acquired road machinery in order to realize the fulfillment of this mandate. Realizing that arising from the acquisition of the county road machinery, there has not been fully accountable administrative support system to aid full operationalization of the county roads machinery to effectively function and cover the requisite roads works, concerned that lack of proper administration system on issues including but not limited to the supply of fuel, servicing of roads machinery, payment of allowances to the attached staff, training of technical staff on emerging issues, location of the garage at the sub-county level, and the skewed performance appraisal on the construction of the roads per ward. Cognizant that if no efficient administrative system is in place to ensure that the county roads machinery is fully utilized for the benefit of the people, so that the people of Nandi will realize the value for money budgeted for the construction of the roads. This House resolves that the County Executive Committee member responsible for roads and infrastructure and to within 14 days formulate and share with the County Assembly policy framework or put in place administrative measures geared towards realization of the following: 1, fair, transparent, and efficient formula for the distribution of fuel for road machinery for use in each ward. 2, practical guidelines on prioritization of disbursement of county roads machinery to wards. 3, workable mechanism for allocating road machinery to areas that require urgent construction of roads due to unforeseeable emergencies without necessarily prejudicing the ongoing road works at a particular ward. And lastly, instructions on involvement respective member of county assembly in ongoing road projects in the wards they represent. Are we debating? The floor is now open. Honorable Bett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I want to thank the honorable member for capturing all the way from human resource, improper coordination of activities in our wards as far as roadworks is concerned. And people who suffer most are honorable members of county assemblies who represent their wards. Members of public are so much concerned on what we do as elected members to ensure we have proper roads in our wards. Mr. Speaker, sir, a case example is the issue of opening up of new roads in our wards. We have only one dozer. You'd find sometimes working in a ward for 3 months, 4 months. And if we were to deliver on new roads across the 30 wards, how much time do we require to ensure we open up new roads across the 30 wards? This means then we need to add machines, and not only machines, we must have efficient machines for us to deliver on the promises and the promises that the county government collectively promised to deliver. Honorable members, let us ensure we push for the implementation of these administrative measures. It should not be one-man show. You are all aware that even sometimes when you have a machine in your area, That machine can be withdrawn without your consent, and you have no say over it as a representative of the people. I call upon this House to wake up to the occasion and ensure all the proposals that are in this motion is actually implemented. Honorable Speaker, I beg that all members support this motion. Thank you.
Honorable Martin Douglas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand, Mr. Speaker, in support of this motion, Mr. Speaker. Somehow, Mr. Speaker, the mover of the motion, Mr. Speaker, the speaker who has just left the stage, I heard him talking about the issue of opening new roads. The content of this motion is very important, Mr. Speaker, because it directly affects the people that we represent. But common sense, Mr. Speaker, demands that if you cannot be able to take care of the children that you've already given birth, there is no point of giving birth to some other children again, Mr. Speaker. For this case, Mr. Speaker, I support the motion, Mr. Speaker. But I disagree with the statement made by Richard Bett.
Correct. Now that you've alluded to the amendment, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on what Honorable Matata have already captured, Mr. Speaker, in the amendment, I'm in support, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in our villages, Mr. Speaker, we have a problem of roads. And it's a fact, Mr. Speaker, each honorable member here is aware. Now that, Mr. Speaker, we are having El Nino rains, Mr. Speaker, it has washed away all the roads which were existing, Mr. Speaker, and now we have a problem. And I thank Honorable Matata for adding flesh on the motion of Honorable Richard Bett. Mr. Speaker, we have emergency funds, which was passed in this county assembly. For any eventuality, Mr. Speaker, in case we have calamities. And all of the calamities we are having now is El Nino, Mr. Speaker. And I want to urge the honorable members, Mr. Speaker, that we support this motion as we are aware that we have monies which we put in emergency fund, which should be used now, Mr. Speaker, to repair our roads. Mr. Speaker, the fuel we are having in this county, Mr. Speaker, might not be enough to maintain all the roads. But if we can convert and use those emergency funds, Mr. Speaker, we should not be here complaining about roads. Mr. Speaker, the issue of roads in this county, most of executives, Mr. Speaker, are saying we've given Ward Development Fund to the Honorable MCS. But now that one, Mr. Speaker, is for next year. And before next year, we must repair roads. And we have emergency roads, emergency funds, honorable members, that we have to push this county to use. And I'm aware, Mr. Speaker, that the emergency funds...
Point of order, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Maina, under which standing order?
Under standing order 100 on the accuracy of facts. Oh, 90, sorry, Honorable. Thank you, Honorable members. I wish, is the member in order to allude to that ward fund has been given to honorable members? Is that an accurate position?
Honorable Keter, will you be able to substantiate that?
Mr. Speaker, the honorable member was not keen when I was talking. This is what I said, Mr. Speaker, that the executive, most of them, when they meet our electorates, they say, we already give Ward Development Fund to the ward, to MCS, which is not a fact, Mr. Speaker. And I want Honorable Minor to be keen on that. Mr. Speaker, we are saying these emergency funds, we have, these roads are not passable. In fact, in my area, Mr. Speaker, where we have a lot of tea growers, Mr. Speaker, most of them, they transport on their back, Mr. Speaker, the teas to the nearby shed where it is, the road is passable. And I think all other wards are doing the same. And Mr. Speaker, I was saying, as we support this motion, we should be on watch out, honorable members, that we need these emergency funds to work now, between now and these El Nino rains. Mr. Speaker, I think I was doing my research, Mr. Speaker, and I was going back to the budget, and we're having a good amount of money. If we can collect all of them and put in one basket, Mr. Speaker, it's around 140 million, which is enough, Mr. Speaker, to repair our roads. So we should not be saying we have machines. Now, Mr. Speaker, as we speak, all machines are packed because of lack of fuel. Again, Mr. Speaker, that calls for, Mr. Speaker, we don't have a proper plan as a county. We should have plans whereby we know, and the national government have dispatched all the monies every month. Why are we not, this county, not prioritizing payment of this fuel so that our people get value for money? I think, Mr. Speaker, I want to end there saying I am supporting the amendment of Honorable Matata, as I call upon, Mr. Speaker, the honorable members that we use these emergency funds and we push the executive so that they can remove these emergency funds. We use it now. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Isaiah Minor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think the amendment, so much as we do not seem to have copies in our desks so that we can be able to peruse, is not only timely, it is really very important. It's a very important amendment. I've actually been trying to look at the standing orders to find out whether there is a way in which to move an amendment to an amendment so that we can further call on this House to resolve that what is being provided for is turned into a legal framework that will serve to guide and regulate all what goes on in the roads department. Because as we stand today, I can only say we are in darkness. Because if somebody tells you there is no fuel, you know, you have no way of telling whether there is no fuel in the tank, or there is no fuel in the country, or there is no fuel in the county. Or whether there was no money, and if so, if there was any fuel that was bought at any given time, how much and how was it used, and for what purpose? So I think this is a very slippery area. Very slippery area, Honorable Speaker. And it can easily be a conduit for siphoning what has already come into the county. Let us take the case of when we say that a road is being constructed or it's being done. Nobody really knows what it is. Nobody knows. Is it that road making or construction or repair means that machines are sent into, say, Oleso's ward, and then that is it? And probably when these machines arrive, the experiences we share or we go through are just terrible. So I think this this amendment is going to go a long way in helping us, even as we make this resolution, and as I even call on us, probably at an opportune time, to develop this further into a legal framework that sets out all what we are thinking about, so that honorable members can be honorable, instead of us being reduced to chasing around for machines, chasing after them, repairing, tires and so on. Sometimes my constituents ask me, I say, probably the thing that these machines did was to break down. When they come to the ward, the only thing they do is to break down. That they do a lot. And once they break down, that the day goes. Like for instance, if the grader, the tires, if one of them has got a puncture, and normally they tend to have punctures a lot, then the day is gone. A tipper, the day is gone. The other surprising thing is for the workers who are attached to this, that they use a lorry, Honorable Speaker, a 10-ton lorry. That is the one they use for their transport, to go from the headquarters to the various wards and back. And they must do that every single day. They have to report here using these 10-tonners, 20-tonners. It is a total kind of mess. So I thank the honorable member for coming up with such an amendment which enriches this motion, and I support it wholeheartedly, and would like to call the members, call on all of us to take an extra mile when the time comes, so that we can formulate this into a binding arrangement, a binding document that then will serve to regulate the activities of the department. I support, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Tarbey.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise, Mr. Speaker, to oppose the amendment brought by my good friend, Honorable Matata, Mr. Speaker. And I oppose without any vendetta, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I know this is a house of rules, Mr. Speaker. And as I was going through the amendment, Mr. Speaker, the honorable member has given around 4 points, Mr. Speaker. The first 3 points are very good, and I would have supported, Mr. Speaker, without the fourth point, Mr. Speaker, where the member, if I may read, Mr. Speaker, that instruction for involvement of respective member of county assembly in the ongoing road projects in wards they represent, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this being a house of rules, Mr. Speaker, there is no need of us making legislation which will not go beyond the doors of this house, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, all the honorable members are aware that the roles of a member of county assembly are 3, Mr. Speaker, and they are stipulated in the Constitution. That's legislation, representation, and oversight, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, the county government is separated into 2 arms. That is the executive and the legislature, Mr. Speaker. So I am wondering, Mr. Speaker, if the honorable member is involved in the Department of Roads, Mr. Speaker, I don't know if that will be a separation of power, Mr. Speaker, because I'm trying to imagine an honorable member.
Point of clarification, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Is it on a point of order, Honorable Matata? Or you want to inform the honorable member?
I want to inform the honorable member, Mr.
Honorable Tarbey, will you wish to be informed? You may proceed, Honorable Matata.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I think, Mr. Speaker, sir, the fourth point on this amendment, Mr. Speaker, sir, is purely on the mechanisms, Mr. Speaker, sir, on how a machine, for example, if it is in my ward, Mr. Speaker, sir, you find that this machine can be withdrawn without even the consent, without even the knowledge of the member of county assembly for that ward. So This fourth point, Mr. Speaker, sir, is just to put some order, Mr. Speaker, so that if there is an emergency in another ward, let me also be informed so that as we release the machine to another ward, Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm not left in a situation whereby the public will be victimizing me for no reason, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable Tarbey, are you informed?
I am reliably informed, Mr. Speaker, and maybe with the guidance of our legal minds in the House, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Mr.
Involvement and information are two different, Mr. Speaker. I think maybe the members
Point of information, Mr. Speaker.
You also want to inform Honorable Tarbey?
Yes.
Honorable Tarbey, will you wish to be informed?
Mr. Speaker, information is
You
power.
may proceed, Honorable Minor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think there is a thin line between the question of when an honorable member, or indeed a member of the county assembly, is involved. Because we've said the key word is that they should be involved, which means there are discussions. The mere fact that we undertake oversight and we represent the people, it just goes without saying that at any given moment, when the executive is undertaking their roles, particularly so in our own words, it goes without saying that they would have to talk to the person who represents the people. What I think Honorable Member for Nandi does not probably understand is that the member is not calling for this person to execute the job. The MCA will not execute, but he must be involved in making the strategies, in making the plans, and so on, but the execution is done by the executive.
You also want to inform
Yes, I would like to inform him.
Honorable Tarbey?
Yes.
Honorable Tarbey, will you take?
I will take if only is the last person to inform me. I am informed, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kirwa,
Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to inform Honorable Tarbey that it's very critical to involve an elected member, because when a particular road is being done in your ward, you should be informed so that you can be fully, if the road is work to be done is about grading, compacting, or marraming, so that you can oversight when you are well informed. I think it's in order. Thank you.
Honorable Tarbey, I can see Honorable Member from Kaptel Kamoyo, his mic is on.
Yes.
I don't know whether he still wants to inform you further.
Yes, point of information to Honorable Member.
Unless you get a consent unless you get the consent from Honorable Tarbey. Honorable Tarbey.
I don't need the information, Mr. I think the one I've been given is sufficient, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Bett, Honorable Tarbey is submitting that he's been reliably informed. So you may conclude.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I still stand, despite the information, Mr. Speaker, I still stand on my grounds, Mr. Speaker. And if you allow me, Mr. Speaker, to inform the members that, according to our dictionary, involve means have or include something as necessary or integral part or result. So, Mr. Speaker, to make a member an integral part of the road making process, Mr. Speaker, and especially the motion, the initial move of the motion was talking of the administrative system, the coming up of the administrative system on roads, Mr. Speaker, and to involve is to make them an integral part. That's the definition of involve, Mr. Speaker. So the term I'm challenging, Mr. Speaker, is the involvement. If someone takes us to court, Mr. Speaker, and challenge this motion that we have made ourselves, we have added ourselves an extra role of being an integral part in the road network, Mr. Speaker, I think we'll be against. So, Mr. Speaker, I object the fourth part of the amendment, and if that is what caused, Mr. Speaker, then I'm not party to the amendment, Mr. Speaker. However, I support the initial motion, Mr. Speaker, that we are urging the executive to come up with proper strategies on how to make roads in Nandi, Mr. Speaker. But involving the honourable members as the integral part, Mr. Speaker, is violating the Constitution, with which all these honourable members, Mr. Speaker, sure to defend. So, Mr. Speaker, I oppose the motion. Thank you.
Point of inquiry, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable Matata, what do you want to inquire?
Mr. Speaker, sir, going by the words of Honorable Tarbei, Mr. Speaker, does Honorable Member want to insinuate that, Mr. Speaker, sir, the members of the county assemblies all over in Kenya are not integral part in the running of this country, Mr. Speaker, sir? Because, Mr. Speaker, sir, even the budget cannot be implemented without us approving. So we are very integral in anything that is being done for the public, Mr. Speaker, sir. And that is why in this amendment motion, Mr. Speaker, I can give you an incident, Mr. Speaker, in my ward. A machine was withdrawn. Gravel has been dumped. To date, the gravel has been rained on for the last 10 days, Mr. Speaker, sir, because the machine was withdrawn without even me being involved, Mr. Speaker. So in all this business, Mr. Speaker, I think an MCA, like now, Mr. Speaker, the members of parliament are oversighting Kera roads, and they are critically involved in all the process, Mr. Speaker. So I don't see why the member of Nandi wants to make elected members less MCAs in their wards, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Point of inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Martin Douglas, are you raising on a point of order or you want to inquire something?
I just want to inquire something, Mr.
From
Speaker.
who?
From the Honorable Member
Honorable
Tarbei. Tarbei, yes, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
I don't know where we will be placed, Mr. Speaker, because I want to inquire. Yes, the role of an MCA is to oversight, to legislate, and to represent. What makes the difference here as opposed to the area member of parliament? Because we play the same role like the area, like an MP. But here there is CDF with an MP, whose MP is everything to the CDF. I mean, we should not be applying this still double standard, Mr. Speaker. Now, because the MP is the patron to the CDF, and actually there's nothing that goes on without the knowledge of the MP. So we are just, it is not too much to ask in this document, Mr. Speaker. We only need to be informed some other things. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Tarbei, you've heard what Honorable Matata has raised, whether you, in order to insinuate that the honorable members should not form part of, should not be integral while executing the county issues.
Mr. Speaker, I agree with the honorable member, but Mr. Speaker, the term used of being involved, Mr. Speaker, is what I question, and that's why I quoted the dictionary, Mr. Speaker. Maybe if the member had, in amendment, had proposed that the members be informed of what is happening in their ward, Mr. Speaker, that would be a different thing. But the term used of being involved, Mr. Speaker, is making them part of the executive in terms of doing roads. That's how I understand, Mr. Speaker. But I stand corrected, although I still stand on my point, Mr. Speaker, that the member should not be involved because we are subverting powers which are not in our line of duty, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Okay. Honorable Rotich Ezra.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I stand, Mr. Speaker, to support the amendment moved by Honorable Member from Kapsabet. Mr. Speaker, on this motion by Honorable Richard Bett from Kapchoro, Mr. Speaker. A very important input by Honorable Matata, Mr. Speaker, because I don't see any reason, Mr. Speaker, as to why we are arguing about the involvement of the area MCA. Because, Mr. Speaker, it's evident enough that my role as the MCA is to represent my people. It's very important, Mr. Speaker, for the member of that area to be aware of what is being done within his area of jurisdiction, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, we are putting a situation whereby a contractor is on site, Mr. Speaker. As an example, Mr. Speaker, and it's the county government that was advertising the road, Mr. Speaker. It's important for the area MCA, Mr. Speaker, including the Mwananchi at the ground, Mr. Speaker, to know the number of lorries that will supply the Mara, Mr. Speaker, including the number of culverts that will be installed along the road, Mr. Speaker. So involving the area member of MCA of that area, Mr. Speaker, is integral part to ensure that service delivery is put in place in that area, Mr. Speaker. So I don't see any reason as why, Mr. Speaker, we are arguing about point number 4 that was amended by the member from Kapsabet, Mr. Speaker. Allow me also, Mr. Speaker, the amendment given by Honorable Matata, Mr. Speaker, are very important, Mr. Speaker. We want to have a fair formula, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that we have equitable distribution of, for example, fuel, Mr. Speaker, in the case whereby we are using county machinery, Mr. Speaker. It was by word of mouth, Mr. Speaker, initially, that, for example, Mr. Speaker, in my region like Moso, Mr. Speaker, 10 kilometers grading or traveling of the road, Mr. Speaker, but that is just by word of mouth, Mr. Speaker. If you go to the actual figures, Mr. Speaker, they don't reflect what they say. So it's important and paramount, Mr. Speaker, to have a clear formula for that area member of MCA, Mr. Speaker, to be aware of the progress of what is being done, Mr. Speaker. Also, Mr. Speaker, there's that part, Mr. Speaker, whereby the amendment says that workable mechanism for allocating road machinery to areas that require urgent construction of roads due to unforeseen emergencies. And that was well put by member from the Kunyung, Mr. Speaker. The case whereby during these El Nino raids, Mr. Speaker, there are regions that can be affected by floods, Mr. Speaker. So it's important for the department, Mr. Speaker, to put mechanism to a situation whereby there are cases where the road can be damaged, Mr. Speaker. And this one will ease movement, not only to people of that region, Mr. Speaker, but also to assist when transporting their produce in their farms, Mr. Speaker. So therefore, Mr. Speaker, I stand to support this amendment in totality to ensure that we have efficient service delivery to our Mwananchi, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much.
Honorable Korir, your mic was on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the amendment brought in by Honorable Matata, Mr. Speaker, and particularly more so to do with the motion raised by Honorable Richard Bett. It is very important, and I think whatever I'm just contributing will even serve to also inform the Honorable Member Tarbey. What we are saying in the motion or in the amendment is that the member is suggesting that we put measures, we have measures put in place to ensure that we are addressing, like a case of number 4, involvement of a respective member of the County Assembly in ongoing projects within the wards. What is very important and very, very necessary for us is that the same addresses that we are requesting, or the Honorable Member Matata is actually requesting that there be a framework that's going to address the entire issue, so that in the long run, we'll have that proper planning to do with maybe projects within the ward. So what we are saying is that it's very important, I rise to support the same, because areas whereby we are having some bit of disorganization, supposing a member or supposing maybe the people concerned with the preparation of the roads or construction of the roads, they are withdrawing machines in an aspect of an emergency, and the members are not aware, then I think that is not fair. It is only good and prudent that we have proper policy and mechanism on how to deal with such emergencies in particular wards. So I want to support the same, and it is very important because it is a high time we ensure that we are having very fair, transparent, as per this point number 1. We have the efficient formula of distributing of fuel and even the road machinery, because at the end of it all, we all require and we need fair distribution of the machines, and at the same time, we have it addressed so that if we have a problem to do with the fuel, at least we'll be able to address the same. And at the end of it all, if we have this framework in place, if we have shortage of fuel, then we are going to address it at another level. have some level whereby we can be able to come through budgeting, we can be able to decide to make decisions as a house that maybe require a lot of, a number of allocation to the fuel and even the machines. So I want to say that I support the same, and I would rally upon all the members that we have that clear framework from the Department of Roads. I support. Thank you.
Honorable Bett.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I arise to support the amendment made by Honorable Matata, MCA Kapsabet Ward. Honorable Speaker, I'm the victim, Honorable Speaker. Recently, I had a crater in my ward, and it was pulled out without my consent, Honorable Speaker. And I feel so bad. And I wonder, in that note, Honorable Speaker, I wonder how Honorable MCA, my namesake, Tarbey, is complaining about the involvement of an MCA on the project going on in my ward. He is an honorable member for Nandi, and he is not aware what is happening in Kaptel Kamoy, Honorable Speaker. He should withdraw and apologize to honorable members, Honorable Speaker. That is not in order, because we feel a lot of pain. Electorates on the ground, Wananji they want to know what project is next in our respective wards, Honorable Speaker. Honorable MCA should apologize and withdraw that statement, because it doesn't need any legislation so that we know what exactly is going on in our wards, Honorable Speaker. I was elected by the people of Kaptel Kamoywa, and I should know what is going on within my area of jurisdiction, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the issue of roads is crucial. It is a very important thing, Honorable Speaker, because we have seen some roads are done during this El Nino time. And the time the crater was pulled in my ward, Honorable Speaker, I could have completed the 10 kilometers, despite my work being the third largest ward. And that we should put also some measures, Honorable Speaker. I've seen some honorable members here, they are silent when they mention 10 kilometers. And in fact, the words like Liboni, Songozoba, Chepkunyuk and other words, my word is 159 kilometers square. Songozoba 182. For our case, 42 kilometers square. The case of Kapkangani, 46 kilometers square. Chemase, I think it is 32 kilometers square. So, Honorable Speaker, we have to be fair enough. We have to be fair and put some legislation and measures concerning the big awards. We cannot talk here nicely so that we can. It is not fair, Honorable Speaker. I feel so bad. 159 kilometers square, being given 10 kilometers, not fair at all, Honorable Speaker. It is dishonesty. Honorable Speaker, going forward, I'll bring a bill or a motion so that this thing of 10 kilometers, we will not agree. I think honorable members are with me. You are not with me? Honorable Speaker, I stand to support the amendment, and going forward, the issue of involving an MCA is very important. It is not a debate at all. Involving me on projects going on in my ward, it is fundamental and it is very important. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I stand to support the amendment.
Honorable Majority Whip. Thereafter, Honorable Deputy Majority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity so that I can support the amendment. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, sir, there are so many things to be done when making the roads. It's not only about the machine and maybe graveling. We do also have some challenges in our various wards, Mr. Speaker, sir, whereby it is necessary to involve the legislator of the said ward. Because you find that most of the roads, we have those people that have encroached. And sometimes it may need politicals. Also, sometimes, Mr. Speaker, sir, you find that creating the road alone cannot solve that problem. We do have projects that it needs to be, measures that it needs to be put so that the road can last long. So if you don't do proper planning during that time, Mr. Speaker, then you will find that you will have wasted the resources. And always, the electorate will not know that there are any other person that can be held responsible. You will only be talking of MCA, Mr. Speaker, sir. So there is need for proper planning and involvement of the MCA within the ward. Mr. Speaker, so in this case, we are also a victim in Jesumei, Mr. Speaker, sir. Because however my people are planning of machine, we have none in Jesumei. So mostly, I support my neighbor, Honorable Bett, when he mentioned about the machine. I know the other time, this Honorable House passed the budget, Mr. Speaker. And in that budget, there was a requisition whereby the acquisition of one crater, which it was to be shared amongst our honorable members, Mr. Speaker. Up to now, we don't know the fate and how far that crater has gone. So there is need to be involved, Mr. Speaker, about what is happening within the ward. Sometimes, Mr. Speaker, we wonder, during a dry season, we are being told there is no fuel, there is no proper plan, there is slow motion of going round. But during this rainy season, Mr. Speaker, I think it could be the time that we do part of the legislation and proper planning in terms of road, so that when the rain subsidizes, Mr. Speaker, that is the time we should be impact on roads. So, Mr. Speaker, I beg that we be involved during this plan so that we can plan wisely. And also, there is also a challenge on time management, because you find that, Mr. Speaker, during road making, you can be on the site as early as 7, but those people that they are supposed to be on the site, Mr. Speaker, they will be coming at around 11 and leaving maybe by 4, which means there is no guideline on what to be done. So there is need, Mr. Speaker, for measures to be put in place. I stand to support the motion.
Honorable Chalule, had given the opportunity to Honorable Tolole, we can have Honorable Tolole, thereafter Honorable Chalule, and the chairperson Rhodes, Honorable Kogo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this opportunity. I rise to support the amendment brought in by Mheshimiwa Matata from Kapsabet Ward on the motion brought by Bett. The Department of Roads for sure has a problem, and getting the member of parliament, the member of county assembly being involved is not a big issue, because we really have to know. It is only the knowledge to be informed that maybe the grader is in your ward at such and such a date. And the CEC in charge of roads or infrastructure does not come from all the wards. Maybe he's not even aware of the challenges that maybe I have in my ward, or the roads that are supposed to be prioritized. So I really have to know, so that I also give input on the roads that are supposed to be attended. There is the issue of machinery. For sure, what Mheshimiwa Balala said, we are not supposed to be bearing a lot of children while we are not even able to take care of what we have. Like the machinery we have. Why don't we even, the Department of Roads is just around here, Mheshimiwa, my colleague, honorable members. Why don't we just get time to go and look at this? At the moment, there is El Nino. The machinery are just here. Let us find time and go and look at this machinery and get to know how many graders do we have? What kind of machinery do we have? Because when they come to your wards, for sure, Mheshimiwa Shangu said, it comes to your ward today, you are told tomorrow, it is, I don't know, it's broke. Let me use that term. You get involved also. You get involved, you take it to the garage. It is, you use your own money. So that is also one of the involvement we are getting, Mr. Mheshimiwa Wanandi. There is also an issue of the payment of allowances to the plant operators. We are getting hard time, Honorable Speaker, when you have the machinery in your ward. You give them lunch, you give them allowances, you accommodate them, you give them transport. In fact, one of them was telling me, I come from far. Chepterwa is far. So you have to pay me transport to and fro. For these guys have a problem. The allowances should be revised, and so that they also get.
Honorable Tololei, Honorable Tarbey wants to inform you.
I'm almost finishing. I'm almost finishing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Proceed.
No. So thank you, Honorable Tarbey. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Members.
Honorable Chelule.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the amendment brought in by Honorable Matata in total. But there is one aspect which we seem to have overlooked, and this is the issue of emergencies. Right now, as I'm talking to you, there are 6 emergencies in my ward. All of them have asked me for a grader to prepare the road leading to the burial sites of the deceased. So I would suggest we incorporate that issue. The CEC in charge of roads should have standby machinery for these emergencies, because when they occur, they actually disrupt the program you as an MCA may be having on the roads you want to do in your ward. So this is my suggestion. Maybe we include that as an amendment. Thank you.
Honorable Chelule, are you moving an amendment to the amendment?
Yes, that is an amendment to the amendment. Emergencies is a very disrupting issue. We are barring numerous
information, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable, just before you allude on that point of information, Honorable Chelule, you heard time and again that this is a house of rules and procedures, and the way to move such amendments is well orchestrated in our standing orders. Unless you comply with the standing orders for you to move that amendment to the amendments.
I am most obliged, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Matata.
Thank you very much.
You wanted to inform Honorable Chelule?
Yeah, because
Honorable
Mr. Speaker,
Chelule, just before you inform him, please, you need to seek his consent. Honorable Chelule, will you wish to be informed by the able member from Kapsabet?
Yes, Honorable Matata, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Member, for consenting me to inform you. Mr. Speaker, sir, if you see on the On the third issue for amendment, a workable mechanism for allocating road machinery to areas that require urgent construction of roads due to unforeseeable emergencies, Mr. Speaker. So I think, Honorable Chelule, your concern has been captured on this amendment, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you.
Honorable Chelule, has that cured your intended amendment? Okay. Honorable Kogo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the amendment brought by my good friend, Mheshimiwa Matata. Mheshimiwa Speaker, Department of Roads.
What is it, Honorable Member from Olesos? You consulting in a very high tone. Honorable.
Yes. Member, in order to begin in one language and continue with another.
So, sorry, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kogo, you've heard that. You out of order. You may proceed, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support amendment from Mheshimiwa Matata. Honorable Matata. Mr. Speaker, as you realize, Department of Roads, we have a lot of problems, especially this time of El Nino. As Department of Roads, being the chair, we are working hard to see we solve the problem of roads in our county. Mr. Speaker, about Mheshimiwa Tarbei's about the involvement of MCA in our wards. May I inform my good friend that it is very important as an MCA to be involved in any work going on in our wards. Mr. Speaker, this morning we invite the CC in charge of transport and infrastructure, Mr. Dries Rono, and we mention a number of things concerning this department. One is about the involvement of honorable member in the wards. Mr. Speaker, no one is allowed to withdraw the machine in our wards without informing the area MCA, and is the final person to release the machine in the wards. And Mr. Speaker, Wasiri also told us that...
Point of inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
You want to inquire what Honorable Tarbei?
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kogo, you may remain seated.
Yeah, I wanted to inquire from the Honorable Chair, Mr. Speaker, because he told us today he was with the CC, but Mr. Speaker, I was touched by the sentiments by Honorable Torelei that members are going out of their pocket to fuel the county graders and facilitate, Mr. Speaker, county workers. I don't know what the chairman has to say about the same, Mr. Speaker, because it's a dire situation, Mr. Speaker. And it is in record of the answer, Mr. Speaker. Maybe the chair first should apologize before proceeding, because he is the chair, Mr. Speaker. And you heard what Honorable Torelei said, that they are forced, the honorable members, Mr. Speaker, are involved by...
Honorable Kogo, just remain seated, Honorable Kogo, please.
That, Mr. Speaker, the honorable members are being involved to the extent that they are using their own resources to fuel county graders and facilitate even county staff, Mr. Speaker. And the chairman is speaking with all the authority, Mr. Speaker, without apologizing and confirming the same, Mr. Speaker. So I wanted to inquire if that is the true states of what Honorable Torelei said, Mr. Speaker, from the chair.
Honorable Kogo, are you in a position to respond to that, or you need some time?
Yeah, I'll respond.
Okay, you may proceed then.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to inform my good friend we should have wait first for me to finish then to you. Because I was going there. I started saying that, Mr. Speaker, today we mentioned a number of things which is among the welfare of the operators in the county. And we informed the CC about the problems of those people when they are going on with the work at our wards. Even me, I'm among those people who are pocketing to support, because, and he told us, in 2 weeks' time, he will give us a solution about the problem of the operators with their welfare. Mr. Speaker, the operators are being paid about 10 or 14,000, which is, and some are not even on BNB, they are still on contract. But we have informed the CC to at least support the operators to be given a BNB, and that is motivation. Mr. Speaker, the department also needs a lot of, we also requested, we are going to request something when the supplementary comes, because the CC told us about finances. And we informed him that we shall support as Committee of Transport and Infrastructure to see that we get funds, and we solve about, even this, we solve 70% or 80% in this department, Mr. Speaker, we shall have too much. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Honorable members, I now rise to put the question that the motion be amended by deleting the following: to within the next 2 months put in the place and share with County Assembly the deliberate administrative system to address the shortcomings arising from the management of the county roads, machinery occasioned by inefficiency in human resource, lack of accountability for the management of roads, machinery, and management of fuel, and adding the following words immediately after the words: County Executive Committee member responsible for roads and infrastructure, to within 14 days formulate and share with the County Assembly policy framework or put in place administrative measure geared towards the realization of the following: 1, fair, transparent, efficient formula for the distribution of fuel for road machinery for use in each ward; 2, practical guidelines on prioritization of disbursement of county roads machinery to wards; 3, workable mechanism for allocating road machinery to areas that require urgent construction of roads due to unforeseeable emergencies without necessarily prejudicing the ongoing roadworks at a particular ward; 4, instructions on involvement of respective member of county assembly in ongoing road projects in the wards they represent. Will as many as of similar opinion say aye? Aye. And will as many as of contrary opinion say nay?
Nay.
Ayes have it. Honorable Tarbey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I now arise to support the initial motion now that the amendment has passed. Mr. Speaker, I think when I raised the issue, it has given us a true picture of the status in the county, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, why I was worried on the involvement of the members, Mr. Speaker, you can see the scenario in the county, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's only in Nandi County whereby we come at the county assembly, pass a budget, allocate some money to the roads. Then, Mr. Speaker, the honorable member go and becomes involved, facilitate from his salary, Mr. Speaker, fuel the county grader and facilitate the staff, Mr. It's only in Nandi County, Mr. Speaker. That's why, Mr. Speaker, when I heard of the term involvement, Mr. Speaker, I was shocked. I thought it's a theory that we are kind of. So, Mr. Speaker, if the honorable members have been facilitating the staff and fueling county graders, Mr. Speaker, without this motion, now you can imagine that they will be involved, Mr. Speaker, directly. I wonder what the county budget will be doing, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it means, therefore, we really need this motion, Mr. Speaker, so that I don't know how it will solve the problem, Mr. Speaker, but I believe something needs to be done. Mr. Speaker, I want to...
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Ezra. Which point of order? Honorable Tarbey, you may remain seated.
Accuracy of facts, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
The term involving, Mr. Speaker, is not about fueling the road, the machinery, Mr. Speaker. It's involving when it comes to identification, Mr. Speaker, when it comes to general withdrawal of machines, Mr. Speaker, and water for you, Mr. Speaker. But it's not about involving the area of member of MCA in fueling the machine and at the same time facilitating the operators, Mr. Speaker. So the member should withdraw, Mr. Speaker, and apologize because of lack of accuracy of facts, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Tarbe, will you please substantiate that?
No, I cannot withdraw, Mr. Speaker. These are facts, Mr. Speaker. The Honorable Member Tolele has confirmed, and even the chair has said, even himself has facilitated, Mr. Speaker. So, which other facts does the Honorable Member require from me, Mr. Speaker? These are facts from the Honorable Member's mouth, Mr. Speaker, that they have been doing the same. So, however, Mr. Speaker, I want to inform that members that that is not their role, Mr. Speaker. We have to do our oversight, Mr. Speaker. If someone is sleeping on the job, Mr.
Point
Speaker...
of clarification, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable Matata.
I think, Mr. Speaker, sir, we need to make a clear clarification here, Mr. Speaker, sir. Because on us members fueling those county machinery, it is out of goodwill. It is not by force. Mr. Speaker, sir, like me, if I can, because the machine is working for my electorate, and I have volunteered my money to fuel that machine, it should not be a discussion. Mr. Speaker, when we talk about involvement on the execution of works, Mr. Speaker, sir, is that we are putting a mechanism, Mr. Speaker, to avoid what we are currently undergoing. But on issues to do with those fuel, nobody, and
Honorable Speaker,
nobody is forced to fuel those machines, Mr.
Honorable
Speaker. It is out.
Honorable Matata is on his feet. You raising on a point of order?
I need to inform on the Honorable because he was clarifying. What
So
is
you
on-
want to inform...
I want to inform Honorable Matata because...
Honorable Matata, will you wish to be informed by the Deputy Speaker?
No, I don't need to be informed. I'm clarifying, Mr. Speaker, to go into the record, Mr. Speaker, so that we don't go there and making a false accusation, Mr. Speaker. Those machines, it is by the goodwill by the honorable members only to fuel to support the electorate, but nobody is forced to fuel those machines. Let it be on record that way, Mr. Speaker.
Well, Honorable Tarbey.
Point of order, Honorable Speaker. And it is a serious point of concern. And probably this House should adjourn and discuss this as a matter of serious concern, if indeed what the Honorable Member from Kapsabet and what the Honorable Member from Honorable Tolole are saying is true, and considering that this is being watched, that there is anyone, and we are giving the impression that we do that. I think if there is any such a thing, then it is not for purposes of record. We cannot say in this honorable house that I have fueled county machines. If I have done, then we have failed. And we are failing. So unless we are admitting failure, Honorable Speaker, the idea is that the state of that department is rotten, and there is a serious problem, and for the correction of such, then that is why we need this motion. But I hesitate to associate myself with a situation whereby any of us would say, without batting an eyelid, that they have fueled a county grader. Because if they have done that, then I wonder whether they do not have any use for their money. It is embarrassing, and it should not be said in this situation, because that is a serious issue. That is almost like a personal statement, Honorable Speaker. I do not know whether there was any provision in what I was saying.
Point of clarification,
but I find it
Mr.
very
Speaker.
concerned, serious concern.
Point of clarification, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Martin Douglas.
Mr. Speaker,
clarify.
I just want to clarify the statements that has been debated here very heatedly, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you remember there was a time here before the Exchequer released the funds to the county. Even the workers, Mr. Speaker, were never paid at that time. And I want us to be very, very, very genuine on this, Mr. Speaker. There is no mistake because we represent the people. And when there is a problem, and we indeed believe that there is no money at the county, and I'm in a position, Mr. Speaker, of helping my people, there is no big deal, Mr. Speaker. We are not insinuating that there was money allocated for the said program and the department has failed. No, we are saying in a situation where the money is not, currently the money is there. And I doubt if there is anybody currently who has ever fueled the machines. No, nobody again has actually, has actually facilitated the staff. This was when, Mr. Speaker, we just started. And I'm here also, Mr. Speaker. When the facility, when I wanted people, the staff to come and help me during a burial at my place, I had to do it, Mr. Speaker, with my own money, willingly, Mr. Speaker. Because we understood the situation of the county at that time. What is so bad? There's nothing bad, Mr. Speaker. We are not saying, Mr. Speaker, that we have failed as a county assembly to do our roles. No. If it happens so now, when we have the funds at the county, then yes, we would have failed. But then, Mr. Speaker, I disagree, Mr. Speaker. You do what is right to your people. When you have money to put in the grader to help your people, when there is no money, please do it. It is not a failure, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When there is no money at the county.
Honorable Tildai, what is it?
Mr. Speaker, I'm perturbed. Mr. Speaker.
Are you raising on a point of order, point of information, or?
Mr. Speaker, I spoke on the amendment. I'm now speaking.
Honorable Tarbe was still on his feet.
No, I wanted, Mr. Speaker, that information to inquire from the Honorable Martin Douglas, Mr. Speaker.
You want to inform Honorable Martin Douglas?
No, I wanted to clarify something, Mr. Speaker, which did not come clearly to me, Mr. Speaker.
So will you wish to inform him?
No, I want to ask him so that I get clarification, Mr. Speaker.
Is that not informing then? Because I thought
probably let him allow me to inform him.
Honorable Martin Douglas, will you wish to be informed by Honorable Keter?
Yes, sir.
Well, proceed, Honorable Keter.
Mr. Speaker, I'm supporting Honorable the sentiments made by Honorable Isaiah, my name is Speaker, and I was shocked when I hear Honorable Martin Douglas, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I'm now understanding why I'm being pushed, Mr. Speaker, for the welfare of members in the vote. This is the real answer, Mr. Speaker. I had never understood, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, from what the Honorable member have said, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker, sir. Can the
Honorable Tildai kindly remain seated, please?
Can the member of Standing Order number 90, accuracy of facts?
Well, proceed.
Can the member from Chepkunyuk, Mr. Speaker, sir, clearly substantiate the relationship between the board he is talking about and the matters concerning the welfare of Nandi County?
Mr. Speaker, it is more than obvious. Mr. Speaker, members have been asking me about welfare. And Mr. Speaker, I now understand what Honorable Martin Douglas is saying. Mr. Speaker, it is shocking that, Mr. Speaker, we came from elections. The work of the MCA is to do oversight. Mr. Speaker, when you fail in the oversight and then you go into your pocket, Mr. Speaker, to fuel county machines after passing a budget, Mr. Speaker, including funds for emergency, Mr. Speaker, that is for burials and all those, it is under emergency.
Speaker, sir, point of order, Mr. Speaker.
already is responding to that point of order.
I'm
Perhaps
responding.
You could give him time so that.
I can see Shukas are rising, Mr. Speaker. Let them relax.
Honorable Matata, kindly be patient as he responds.
Yeah,
to
let them
that.
be patient, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, after passing a budget in this county assembly, we put budgets of for machines, including repairs. As Honorable Torole have said, it is wrong, Mr. Speaker, for this county to make the honorable members repair a machine. Mr. Speaker, we are heading in the wrong direction. If this is what we are seeing, Mr. Speaker, without, Mr. Speaker, summoning the members from the executive to explain to us, to this county assembly, why the machines are not being repaired, Mr. Speaker, and we have monies for repair. Mr. Speaker, I think we must be serious in this county assembly. We should not say that we allow the executive and deal. You go into your pocket to buy fuel, and then you come here and say, I bought a fuel, Mr. Speaker, willingly.
Point of
And you've
information,
already,
Mr. Speaker.
That is why I wanted them to clarify, Mr. Speaker. He'll come after.
Honorable Speaker. Point of information, Mr.
Martin
Speaker.
Douglas, huh?
Information,
You're the
Honorable
one
Speaker.
being informed. Huh? I don't know now.
I want to inform Honorable Keter. He is in line with the House, Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
And he's a senior ranking member of this House.
Honorable Keter, be seated. Honorable Martin Douglas, be seated. Honorable members, we all understand the rules of debate. Honorable members, when one member is on his feet, the other members should always remain freezed or seated. And Honorable Keter was on his feet. Thereafter, I saw Honorable Martin Douglas, he rose. The Deputy Speaker also rose. Let us kindly have some order. These are House of Rules and Procedure. Honorable Keter, you are on your feet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for protecting
Someone who is raising a point of order on your submissions. Is it Honorable Martin Douglas? Are you raising on a point of order?
No, Mr. Speaker, since he was being informed, let me wait for him to finish so that I can reply.
Okay, that's okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for protecting me, for the members, the ranking members, that is Honorable Martin Douglas and Honorable Sang. Mr. Speaker, these are ranking members. And they are here, Mr. Speaker, fueling machines. They are the ranking members, Mr. Speaker. And we want to end that culture, Mr. Speaker, from today going forward. For these honorable members, and we have respect to get that respect, Mr. Speaker, that thing should end. And I heard, Mr. Speaker, including the chairman of roads, Mr. Speaker, he is busy fueling again. Mr. Speaker, I fail to understand clearly what is the role of an MCA. Surely, Mr. Speaker, and members, this is a serious issue. Let us not take it for granted. We should take executive into their toes. And they should help us work, Mr. Speaker. They have been employed by the government. They are getting salaries, Mr. Speaker, to do the same. And it is not a favor, Mr. Speaker. We vetted them in this house. We passed them, their names. Mr. Speaker, the other day, I saw on social media the word of Honorable Cheluli. Mr. Speaker, somebody was being carried by crutches, Mr. Speaker. So that sucked, Mr. Speaker. Those were older days, Mr. Speaker. It should not happen in this era, in this county assembly, for having honorable members who are elites like this, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is very serious. Honorable members, let us not take it. You will not be able to fuel these graders and lorries. You will never, even if you have millions. That is not your job. Take those money, invest somewhere. It is not meant for fueling machines. And Mr. Speaker, from today, I want to urge the honorable members. Let us be members of this county assembly. Let us be serious if we want to be respected. If we want to be respected. And the first assembly and second assembly, Mr. Speaker, they did their part. And this county, Mr. Speaker, we must break a record by doing oversight and not allowing the executive to take a ride on us, Mr. Speaker, and including fueling our machines. Mr. Speaker, this is serious, Mr. Speaker. Even the members of the public who are watching us now, Mr. Speaker, debating that we are fueling machines, I think, Mr. Speaker, they are wondering.
Point
and
of
we've been,
information.
Mr. Speaker, saying we are
Point
earning
of
86,000.
Point of information, Honorable Speaker.
You want to inform
I
someone?
want to inform Honorable Tildai, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable, before you inform Honorable Tildai, remember that Honorable Matata rose on a point of order on the connection between...
I'm coming to him, Mr. Speaker.
Kindly, please. So, will you wish to be informed?
Yeah, let him inform me, Mr. Speaker, before I answer
Honorable Bett.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to inform Honorable Tildai that fueling crater is just there willingly. And also, Honorable Speaker, going to Arambe also, it is not a duty of an MCA. It is still the same with fueling the crater, Honorable Speaker. So, it is just a willing heart, Honorable Speaker. Fueling, going to Arambe, assisting the patients. If you have money, for the case Captain Gamoyo, what I'm supposed to be graded 10 kilometers, and I have a very large mass of. So should I wait for the next financial year? Another locations has not yet been created. If I have money, even I can borrow from elsewhere so that the remaining site can be fueled. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Well,
that is from
Honorable Tildai, you've been informed.
I have been informed, Mr. Speaker. But again, I fail to understand the budgets we are passing here for fuel. What is the purpose of that? And then you go into your pocket and fuel again. So back to the question, Mr. Speaker, for Honorable Matata. Mr. Speaker, when salaries, Mr. Speaker, and allowances delay, I'm the one, Mr. Speaker, being asked, what are you doing? What is this? We need this. And Mr. Speaker, the members who have been telling me are the ones who are fueling the machines. That is what I can answer. That
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable.
On accuracy of facts, Mr. Speaker, sir. Can the honorable member substantiate and give evidence on the members that he's saying that they are fueling machines? Mr. Speaker, sir, let us call a spade a spade. There is nobody in this house that have been forced to fuel any machine. Let it be known. So I want Honorable Tildai to mention those members that he's saying they are fueling machines. You are actually tainting our
point of information, Mr. Speaker.
Before that point of information, Honorable Tildai, Honorable Matata has rose on a very critical point of order. That are you able to substantiate that there are members of this county assembly
Mr. Speaker.
that fuel the county government machines?
Mr. Speaker, it is here, Honorable Martin Douglas have said, people have been willingly fueling. What is that?
Inquiry,
and then
Speaker.
Honorable
Point
Chair,
of information, Honorable Speaker. Inquiry, Honorable Speaker. To the Honorable, from the Honorable Gater. Now, Honorable Speaker, I wish to inquire from Honorable Gater that is lying in this house. Last week, Honorable Speaker, and I can substantiate, that Honorable Tildai went to Jemwami factory to ask for fuel for the same. And he told me, we have budgeted the money, but it's not enough. So it is wrong, it is not wrong for a member to borrow this money and assist the electorate so that the members, because the service delivered.
Point of order.
If we talk Honorable Speaker, if we are talking Honorable Speaker, about this, not our role, Honorable Speaker.
Point of order.
Honorable Speaker.
Point of order on accuracy of facts.
Honorable members.
Point of order.
Honorable Isaiah remains seated for a while. Honorable Sang, are you done?
No, Honorable Speaker, it is very wrong for us to lie to ourselves here, Honorable Speaker. I want to inquire from that lie. He is a ranking member. He wants to lie to the
Honorable
member.
A point of order. Honorable Minor is raising on a point of order. Will we please listen?
Honorable Speaker, I wish I would inquire so that they can raise the point of order to the lie because I was not talking.
Point of order.
Yes, Honorable Isaiah Minor.
On accuracy of facts.
Yes.
Is the member from Jebkumia in order to insinuate that if the honorable member from Jebkunyuk went out and mobilized resources from a tea factory or other stakeholders, that is the same thing as fueling from his salary. Is that in order?
Honorable Sang, you've heard what
Yeah.
Honorable Isaiah Maina has said,
I've heard.
that is mobilizing resources part of fueling.
I've heard Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
But Honorable Maina Isaiah is not, that is not the right point of order to me, because when you talked about sourcing the money from your salary and from the multinational are the same. Because it is not about where the money comes from. It is the service delivery to that common mwananchi. Though it is not our role, but at the time we go outside our role so that we can assist, because the resources are limited. We cannot say the resources and the budget the resource. And obvious, Honorable Speaker, the members knows that the money is not available. So for the machines to maybe to stall in this in the Department of Roads, I don't see, Honorable Speaker, members to debate. You know, when we are here, there are members that cannot give something. They cannot even remove their pockets to assist the members of the community. So we cannot say wait for the county government for us, and the money has not been released from the exchequer. So we need to go outside our way, and it is not wrong. And if member wish that he is not ready to do that, he will wait for the money to be budgeted so that he can come and do when time comes. So Honorable Matata or Honorable Balala or anybody else, Honorable Speaker, and we have been doing this from 2013 while I was in the first assembly, that members, if the machines are there, you go ask for friends, you ask for a relative, the well-wishers, so that can assist you to ensure that your roads are being well maintained. So Honorable Keter is just doing politics and lying to these simple members that it is not your role to put your money into your pocket. So it's not yet and tell the truth to this House, Honorable Speaker, as a ranking member. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Sang, before
Point
you
of
remain
order,
seated,
point of order, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Isaiah Maina, kindly remain
Speaker,
seated.
Using a parliamentary,
Yeah.
is lying on a parliamentary language.
Just a minute, Honorable Isaiah Maina. Honorable Sang, you've heard the sentiments of Honorable Isaiah Maina. He's asking whether sourcing for funds is done by, as allegedly done by Honorable Tildai, amounts to fueling from, his own pocket.
Honorable Speaker, maybe I used the wrong term, but lying, but I was supposed to say not telling the truth, but not lying. Not telling the truth this out. So I don't know whether not saying the truth and lying are the same, but that is not parliamentary language, lying, but saying not telling the truth to the members of this county assembly, Honorable Speaker. So I was saying that sourcing and having into your pocket, they are two different. You might say, most of us are politicians. You might go to this multinational and go tell your electors that I've pocketed my money, I'm using my money. It is your language. But what is very important is the work done at the ground. So it is not about where you get the money, but the work that can be realized by your electorate to give you more chance is very important. Thank you, honorable members.
You have not actually given me the time to reply on the information from the honorable member, member.
I was almost
Honorable Tildai was still on his feet.
Okay.
Yeah, Honorable Tildai, note that your time is up, please.
Yeah, I know,
I'm just
Mr.
giving
Speaker.
you 30 seconds, please.
Thank
to
you,
wind
Mr.
up.
Speaker. First of all, Mr. Speaker, Chemomi is not in my ward. It is in Honorable Korir's place. It borders
Point of information,
Kaptumo, Mr.
Mr.
Speaker. It
Speaker.
borders Kaptumo. If it borders Kaptumo, Mr. Speaker, imagine, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Sang,
Honorable Korir,
misleading this house that I come from Jepkunyuk to Savani to request for fuel. So I think this it is misleading this house, Mr.
Honorable
Speaker.
Kiprop, you
I am
wanted to
answering-
inform Honorable Keter?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Keter, you're having so much point of information, sir. I don't know. Would
So-
you wish to be
so
informed
can
by the
I
honorable?
allow Mr. Speaker
Would you
because of-
wish to be informed by the
Yeah, I
honorable
can
member
be
from
informed
Nandi
by-
Hills?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, actually, debating on, Chemomi, actually, it is in my ward. And Honorable Speaker debating that they are going to pour out the fuel. Yet I personally, that represent the said industry, have not achieved. You are actually giving out the wrong information to the public, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, aware that we agree that we are going to give out the cess, and the cess that are going to assist this honorable house and the entire county government of Nandi in Department of Roads, Honorable Speaker, And let us agree, honorable members. We are here in the floor of the House in three things. We represent our electorates. We make oversight on, on their behalf. And we legislate. Honorable Speaker, we are here on behalf of the great people of various wards that we represent. Honorable Speaker, I don't see any problem when any member go anywhere where he can find any funds and represent his people. Actually, Honorable Speaker, we work in different criteria and different form, Honorable Speaker. I want to state it clearly, Honorable Speaker, without any doubt, Mr. Speaker. Other people can remove their money to untie people at their ground. Me, I can remove my money to buy fuel and do development to my people, Honorable Speaker. I don't see any difference. I don't see any harm, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Point of information.
Thank you,
Mr. Speaker.
You can wind up, please.
Yeah, let me wind up, Mr. Speaker. I was saying it's Honorable Korir's place, but it is Honorable Edwin place, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was saying this. Let us do oversight, make sure this executive does their work. This is what we have to agree, honorable members, so that when time comes, you should not be pocketing. Mr. Speaker, I understand Honorable Sang have said he has been pocketing since. But honorable members, I warn you, don't follow that path. Honorable Sang is a different person altogether. Don't follow his steps, Mr. Speaker. As I conclude,
Honorable Speaker, you've talked about the parliamentary language. He's talking about Honorable Sang is a different person and a member of the county assembly. Can he tell us why he meant or what he meant by saying Honorable Sang is a different person?
Up to you, Honorable Keter.
Mr. Speaker, I know, Mr. Speaker, there are some things I will not say here because he is a friend. Mr. Speaker, I know where he's getting money. Mr. Honorable members, don't go that part. And Mr. Speaker, as I conclude is this. Let us have decorum. Let us respect each other. Let us do oversight. And we make sure, Mr. Speaker, our people
Point of information, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Because, Mr. Speaker, we've been elected here. And members, Mr. Speaker, we have been saying we have little resources. We've vacant salary of 86,000.
Honorable Keter, I'm afraid your time is up.
Point of information, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Your time is up.
I think, Mr. Speaker, it is my time, Mr. Speaker, to, because actually, I was actually being informed by the honorable member from Chepkunyuk.
Just a minute and wind up, please.
Yes, just a minute, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, we should not pretend in this house, Mr. Speaker, just because we fear the public. Mr. Speaker, let us call a spade a spade. We are cognizant. Doing budget, Mr. Speaker, is a different thing. Budgeting, Mr. Speaker, is a different thing. And actually getting the exchequer money from Nairobi. Those are two different. Yes, we can play. We've been playing our part as legislators to budget, to approve the budget. But again, Mr. Speaker, we cannot move out as a county assembly to go and force the national government to give us money on time. Those are two different things. Why we are saying this, Mr. Speaker, is because we have done the budget, and we know in every transition, Mr. Speaker, every other government transition, Mr. Speaker, there's a delay of funds. In that delay of funds, Mr. Speaker, I can willingly, Mr. Speaker, do what is right to my people. It is not. And Mr. Speaker, the honorable member from Chepkunyuk want actually to assume and pretend that he actually lives in the blues. While he knows what is happening, the bureaucracy from the national government to the county government. Mr. I want to call the honorable...
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Number 9, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order. I think Honorable Isaiah Maina has rose earlier on a point of order. We can have him prosecute his point of order.
Yes, it's on accuracy of facts, Honorable Speaker. I wish for the Honorable member from Jemase to clarify whether indeed an honorable member is allowed, or indeed any officer, to fuel a public vehicle, and whether or not he is not admitting to a crime which would otherwise be subject to an investigation.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Martin Douglas, up to you.
Mr. Speaker, I also, on the same pet, Mr. Speaker, I want the honorable member, Mr. Speaker, to tell us on the standing order where it denies an MCA to fuel a tractor. Mr. Speaker, it is a double-edged sword, Mr. Speaker. And we have said it clearly in this, that we are doing it willingly. If I have to do it, I do it willingly. Not because I have overstepped the mandate that I was given by the Constitution.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
No, let us avoid that point of order. Honorable Martin Douglas.
Mr. Speaker, point of order, Mr.
Speaker. Honorable Martin Douglas. Just remain seated, please.
Point of information to this House.
Just remain seated, please, for a while. You'll inform the House. I'll give you an opportunity to inform the House. Honorable member from Kapchorwa. Honorable Martin Douglas, you heard what the honorable member from Olesos is saying, whether the honorable member is allowed to fuel a public vehicle.
Thank you, honorable member. It is not written anywhere, Mr. Speaker. Neither is it in the Constitution or in the standing orders of this Assembly, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
And it does not amount to conflict of interest, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. On the member, Mr. Speaker, point of order. According to standing order number 9, Mr. Speaker, is the honorable member in order to lie to this House, Mr. Speaker? When we were sworn in, Mr. Speaker, we were given forms from the Ethics and Integrity that we signed, Mr. Speaker. And those forms touch on Chapter 6 on integrity, Mr. Speaker. I want to pick a scenario, Mr. Speaker, to honorable member. You have fueled a grader, maybe 100 liters, and it is a county grader, and the role of the executive is to use those graders, Mr. Speaker. How you will be forced to restrict the grader from being withdrawn until you utilize your fuel, Mr. Speaker. This will lead to a conflict of interest, Mr. Speaker. So we signed the code of conduct with the ethics and integrity, Mr. Speaker, and the honorable member is lying to this honorable House that there is no such law, Mr. Speaker. I think the member should be refunded with the document he signed, Mr. Speaker, and he'll get what he signed, Mr. Speaker. It's unethical and it's against Chapter 6, Mr. Speaker. That's to my understanding, Mr. Speaker.
How is it correct?
Honorable, next is you online, Honorable Bett. Honorable Martin Douglas, you heard the sentiments of Honorable Tarbe that indeed you've signed the Leadership and Integrity Act on issues of likelihood of conflict of interest, and you've submitted to the House that it is not written anywhere. So the honorable member is asking, are you in order to say that there is no written law as regard that?
Mr. Speaker, I think, Mr. Speaker,
sit down.
Mr. Speaker, I really doubt, Mr. Speaker, where the two things comes together. Unless, Mr. Speaker, I'm convinced to understand. I know ignorance has no defense, Mr. Speaker. But again, by helping my people, Mr. Speaker, to do what is right, does not mean that I'm conflicting any law. Yes, indeed, I swore, I signed, Mr. Speaker, but I doubt that I'm conflicting any other law, Mr. Speaker. Representation, when I do anything, Mr. Speaker, I do for the best interest of the people I represent, Mr. Speaker. And I'm very conscious because I don't want to overstep or go out the standing orders or any other law that conflicts whatever I do, Mr. Speaker.
Point of
Thank
information, you. Mr. Speaker. Point of information.
Honorable Bett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I want to inform this House. One, honorable members, this is a house of order and procedures. Let us separate between private arrangement and the core responsibilities of this county assembly. the intention and the objective of this motion were to sort out some of the issues that we encounter, which is actually not the responsibility of an elected member of this house. Private arrangement, no problem. But that should not arise in this house, because this is a house of order. We have a constitutional role. And the intention and the objective of this motion was to ensure that there is proper administrative of machines in all aspects, so that no member of this house should dig into his pocket to ensure the affairs of the county government of Nandi is run by an elected MCA. Honorable members, we pass a budget. We have the allocation of every department. Our responsibility is to ensure the utilization of those funds to the benefit of the people who gave us the opportunity to represent them is actually actualized. Honorable members, let us be serious. Let us play our role as an assembly. If you look at standing order number 89, 89.2, 89, 1 and 2. A member who wishes to speak on any matter in which the member has a personal interest shall first declare the interest. 2. Personal interest includes pecuniary interest, propriety interest, personal relationship, and business relationship. This is a house of order and procedure. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would kindly request that you put a question and ensure things run in this county assembly. Thank you.
Honorable members, Honorable Bett, you raise a very serious concern that I proceed to put the question and ensure that things run in this county assembly. Is it touching on this present motion or any other thing?
On implementation of this motion by the executive.
Well, that's okay. Any other contribution?
Point of information. Mr.
You
Speaker.
raising on a point of order, Honorable Tarbey? Okay. I'd given you an opportunity to speak before, Honorable Member from Kapsimoto.
Okay, thank you.
Honorable Tarbey. Honorable Korir, you may remain seated.
Mr. Speaker, I was saying I was on the floor before I was interrupted. So if the member wants to go...
Yeah, you may wind up, please.
Okay.
Wind up.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I know we have deviated from the main debate, but, Mr. Speaker, I think it gives a picture, a worrying picture, Mr. Speaker, that the honorable members are going out of the way. And I want to urge the honorable members to stick to our roles to avoid the conflict of interest. Mr. Speaker, in as much as we feel that this motion will address some of the issues, Mr. Speaker, I happen to have been lucky in the first assembly, Mr. Speaker, and some members even who went out of their way to use their resources, Mr. Speaker, to try and please the public, Mr. Speaker, they ended up not being elected. So it's a call to the honorable members, Mr. Speaker, that they stick to their role, Mr. Speaker, of oversight. Because, Mr. Speaker, the county has resources. In as much as a road may be pathetic, the member should not go out of the way to try and please public, Mr. Speaker. Because if we do the same, Mr. Speaker, and I want maybe for the interest of the honorable members, our constitution, Mr. Speaker, on what I was saying, on the code of conduct, that's the constitution, Article 75, Mr. Speaker. Article 74 says oath of office of a state officer. It says before assuming a state office or acting in state office or performing any functions of the state office, a person shall take and subscribe to oath of affirmation of office in the manner and form prescribed by the task schedule or under the Act of Parliament. And 75, Mr. Speaker, is where I'm interested. Conduct of a state officer. A state officer shall behave whether in public or official or in private life or in association with other persons in a manner that avoids, 1, any conflict between personal interest and public or official duties. 2, shall compromising any public or official interest in favor of personal interest. And 3, demeaning office of the office holder. So, Mr. Speaker,
it brings a conflict of interest if a member goes away to fuel the grader. For example, I gave an example where, because a road is pathetic in my ward and I want to fuel, so I go purchase a fuel from a petrol station, say 100 liters, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, because the CC or the CO for roads had budget, he wants, for example, to withdraw my grader. So, you know, this grader will go with my fuel, Mr. Speaker, and that will bring a conflict of interest. That's why, Mr. Speaker, the honorable members should stick to their role of oversighting. If there is things are messy, someone should be just home, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, we have members who are coming to this parliament for the first time. They don't have resources. They are balancing between fuel rolls, school fees. You can imagine, Mr. Speaker, prompting a member to use his own resources. Mr. Speaker, members of this honorable will go out beggars, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, this calls even to the member of the service board that in some kind of civic education on the roles of members, Mr. Speaker, because in as much as we are doing public service, Mr. Speaker, we also have our personal development. We don't want to be laughing stock, Mr. Speaker, and the committee on roads should come up should write to the occasion, Mr. Speaker. If someone is sleeping on the job, we have budgeted for resources, we have given them salaries. Members should not go beyond that, Mr. Speaker. The resources that has been allocated both within the county and the national should be utilized. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable member is done, so I think he may not likely wish you to inform him. Honorable Korir, thereafter Honorable Trufosa, then Kogo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I actually wished to inform the entire House on an aspect. In the committee that I chair for budget, I did, and with the approval of this House, we actually gave some recommendations. And one of our main mandate is to give recommendations, interpret the budgets of the assembly, or I mean the county budget. Now, we did give the recommendation that was actually directed to the CCM in charge of economic planning and finance, that whatever we are approving is actually subject to implementation of the budget. I want to, and I wish to inform the House, that whatever we have been debating and discussing, each and every item has its own allocation. We have a budget line for each particular item. We have a budget line for fuel in our county. We have a budget line for even adding an additional machinery for the same. Now, what is very amazing is that we are not at liberty to even finance and fuel the vehicles individually. What we need to do is to ensure that the motion was very clear, that we actually have the guidelines and framework on how to deal with these machines. It is actually very wrong for members to go ahead. That is just at your own will. But the mandate that we have is to oversight. I want to I want to request and ask the membership herein that it is very important that we ensure that we are checking the implementation of that particular budget. I think as we speak, we have enough fuel, we have enough machinery, given the budget that we gave. We have not been told that there is a shortage about the same. So we need to actually ensure that we are oversighting for the implementation. Any other thing that is personal is actually not within us. I want to request that we ensure that the budget is implemented fully. Thank you.
Honorable Trufosa, Honorable Kogo, thereafter Honorable Majority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I also rise to support this motion. Honorable members, we have gone outside the motion, talking about fueling and whatever. In the order paper, the motion is clear that we need to make sure that road machinery are in place all the time. Fuel should be there all the time. Because by now, we have finances. Why should we have shortage of fuel? That is the motion we had today. But going outside of talking about fueling and whatever, that is not our business in this House. I could even request something. There is a saying, I would request Mr. Speaker to allow me, but I don't know whether you can accept. Yeah.
You can have it in quotes.
There is a saying in Kalenjin, quoting that, Meojin ang no shek. I think we have understood. The reason why I'm saying so is because of other MCS who are talking about fueling.
Honorable member from Kemelo Maraba.
Yes,
Now
Mr.
that you've heard that in court, will you make us understand what you mean?
Yes, I'm still going on.
Okay.
Why I'm quoting that word meaning Miajina no check is that maybe somebody like Palala. He was a member in this county assembly 2013. From 2007, yes, he was a councillor by then. He came second time as an MCA. He's here now for the third time. I'm sorry to use your name. So you cannot compare Honorable Matata with Cheptuget, the youngest MCA in this county assembly. And it's the first time for him to be in this assembly. How can Cheptuget fuel the of county assembly and yet we have budget for that machine? I'm in budget committee. I'm supporting Ikonga with our chair, Edwin Korir. We have a budget for fuel. We have budget for maintenance, machines, and all other things concerning the roads maintenance. Then, why should you disturb yourself talking about fueling the machines and maintaining, and yet we have a budget for it? If there is no money, if the budget has elapsed, why can the road department given us a report that there is no fuel, there's no money for fueling the machines as well as maintaining? Then we can come back and sit and talk as the assembly. Where can we get money for maintaining the roads? Can we go for the allocations for emergencies or supplementary? It is not about us to fuel the machines. I totally refuse. Now we are crying in our words about Arambis and whatever. Where can I get money for fueling the machines? So let's talk. We have budget. So we need to stick to that budget. So mine is to support this motion about maintenance of the machines as well as fueling. We need to know why is this problem appearing every now and then. This is a disease which must be treated or cured. It has been there since, from the beginning. I was here in the second assembly. The problem of transport and infrastructure was there from the beginning. So it is still going on. We need to talk to make it that that disease is finished once and for all. We don't want this problem to be going on every now and then, talking about fueling, talking about maintenance. When you have the machines in your ward, sometimes they say something has broken, the MCA should go and buy. Why? That is not my problem. It is upon the roads department. So I support this motion totally. We need maintenance of the machines as well as fueling. Thank you so much.
Honorable Kogo Silas.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute on this motion. Just want to say that I fully support the motion that was brought up by Honorable Richard Bett, MCA Kapchorwa, and the amendment by Honorable Matata. Honorable Speaker, I just want to say that we are an honorable house, and we are here to represent, to legislate and oversight. Being the representative of my great ward, that is Sangalo Keblonik, I just want to say this. The Department of Roads and Infrastructure and the committee, this county assembly, should see that there is transparency and fairness in the management of county road machinery. Honorable Speaker, remember that all these things, after us budgeting for this, there must be service delivery. Putting in mind that this is taxpayers' money and must be used accordingly. Honorable members, let us stick to this motion to see into it that our machines, that's the graders, rollers, tippers, and what have you, must be working for our electrodes. And that if any machine is within our wards, I being the CEO of my ward, let's I be informed before anything is done, maybe withdrawal of machines. Honorable Speaker, just want to urge all of us to work harmoniously, to work in togetherness, and see into it that service delivery to our wards is brought to limelight in each and everything that we are doing. Honorable Speaker, I fully support. Thank you.
I think it was Honorable Keter, and then thereafter you, Honorable Sang. Are you forfeiting your opportunity to Honorable Deputy Speaker? Honorable Sang, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Because I've seen we might have the issue of quorum, and these are very important motion that requires our attention in the County Assembly. Honorable Speaker, I start by saying this. The mover of this motion, Honorable Bett, I say congratulations, because roads in our county is an issue. If there's a department that needs to be taken seriously, it's the Department of Roads and Infrastructure. Now, as we are going for this El Nino, that this and this talks about that maybe from next week or next month. And we have these serious issues of, one, the transfer of machinery. Before even I talk about the fuel, if your machinery is in your ward, you might hear from, maybe from outsiders, that the machinery has been taken away from your ward without the consent of even the area MCA. And you had planned that there are some, we have this what we call the instructors. I don't know from this department who is responsible. Is it the CEC, the CEO, the director, or anybody else, or even the operator? Most of these operators, Honorable Speaker, have an issue that if they come to your place and you have not been giving anything in terms of motivation, I don't know who is supposed to motivate. Is it the MCA? Is it the department? Because I've heard, with a rumor, and it's not supposed to be discussed here, that most of the operators refuse to go to particular wards because they know they will not get something. Honorable Speaker, that one should be something of the past. That we need them to be given enough allowances as proposed by Honorable Bett, so that the all wards are equal. As said by Honorable Truvosa Kudo, the senior member, that all rivers are not the same.
Mr. Speaker, sir, point of information.
You want to inform the Honorable Member Sang?
Yes, sir.
Honorable Sang. Honorable Bett wants to inform you. Honorable Sang.
Thank you. Mr.
Honorable Sang.
The Deputy Speaker asked.
Honorable Sang.
The Deputy
Would you wish
Speaker,
to be informed?
Yeah, let them try.
Thank you. Thank you, honorable members. The Deputy Speaker has raised matters of concern.
Yes.
The Deputy Speaker has raised matters of very serious concern, and I really want to inform him that today I had asked the same question to the CEC because we had allocated budget for allowances. And I'm glad to inform you, Bwana Diaz, that as we speak, they are going to backdate all the allowances so that members, or rather staff working in the field, will be having allowance to rent somewhere so that they can have time to operate, lunch, and even supper. So be informed that that one has been taken care of. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable Sang.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker, for that information. but I was not there during the meeting, so thank you for your information. And it is true that if the allowances should be backdated, that is what is required, honorable members. Because you can find at times that these operators come to your ward maybe at 10. And then they work for 1 hour, it is raining, they disappear. And they are just counting the number of days that this particular machine has been in this particular ward for this period. So, as said by the move of the motion that the said question or the issue of staff has been gathered, I think most of the roads will be well maintained. Honorable Speaker, about the issue of fuel, I'm proposing that if this fuel will be given to a particular ward to a certain number of liters, bearing in mind that we have 30 wards, and if you can say we have the 100 liters of fuel in Ward A, if it is Kapsabet or in Chapter Y, it must be equal whenever it ends there. Now, that's not the time that the machine will be pulled out. But we should not be counting the number of machines in a particular ward physically, because the weather are not the same. So we are requesting this department, Honorable Speaker, that they must do something. We know them, we've heard them. The CC was here, the CEO was here also as an MCA, a close friend of mine. He was a majority, but he need to pull up his socks to ensure that this service delivery to the most of the world, because we gave them an opportunity knowing that they will come and serve us better. So I'm requesting the department led by Ebo Chair to ensure that all wards are equal and the fuel will be distributed equally without knowing who is a senior member or who is not a senior, because all we are serving Nandi as a whole. So I must say that thank you. I'm in support of this. And the issue of this transfer of the machine, we need to know who is responsible for the same. So that we know that, and this emergency that has been said by the Honorable Chelule, it will be very unfair for a machine to be pulled in this particular area to a certain particular area because of funeral issue. Let them divine a machine that meant for any kind of emergency. Because if we can allow any time that the machine will be pulled, there will be no work done. And furthermore, we cannot be waiting for this funeral so that the machine be pulled. We have been having so many funerals at our place. But others, if you have big funeral and small funeral, it is unfair. All funerals are the same. We can say this person is very big in government. Even those who are dying at the age of 5 years are also big in this government. So we need to treat these people equally and ensure that the machines for the emergencies, like you can talk about the area of Tindred, where Honorable Chelule, you cannot equate to Chepkumia. Because I have one ward, one location, 2 assistant chief. So if I can transfer that ward, I can finish within 2 hours. I'm done with Chepkumia. And that is one of the reasons that I've been given an opportunity, because my ward is very small. So as we do this also, members, what members? Members, I'm proposing that as we are going to have this, and we are requesting if the implementation is there. He has posted a lot of statements and he has left us because he was the one who is doing this implementation to ensure that all work has been done. So Honorable Shiango should follow this. Wherever he is, it is his work. After the motion has been passed, let action be done. Otherwise, honorable members, I'm in support of this motion and ensure that our roads is well kept and maintained. I was heard somebody yesterday, we were talking somewhere, and they were saying, whenever you step to Nandi, you know this is not Kenya. But when you go to Wasingishito in the ranking of Misani that we said was being put, Mandago was 47 out of 47, but they were saying that the roads are better than us. Jalilem. So I want us to ensure that these particular roads, somebody like Kerbesen, if you can go to this ward, we can cry. Because Kerbesen and Jebtuget, but Jebtuget is fair because your words have covered is matched by this deep plantation. But you will go to Soba Songo, you go to, and also, Honorable Speaker, we need also, if there's a particular ward, like us in Mgwen, we have a particular ward, this ward called Kilibwani. 9 location, 27 sub-location. That is sub-location. Chemalan should be given more priority, followed by Kapsabet. And then Jepkumia, and then last Kapkangan, then Jepkumia will be the least, so that we can do that, that honorable member. For fairness. Kapkangan, because I'm the least, it is vice versa. So in Kilipwani, if you can give greater 10 kilometers from here, Mogong, up to Mo University, let us also be fair at times. Kapsabet also is bigger than Kapkangani and Jepkumia. So as we are here as a ranking member of the Bogorongo, we should also shape our ambition to assist other members so that they can be better than the others. So otherwise, honorable members, I'm in support, and thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Maindi, thereafter Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I stand to support the motion that was put by Honorable Bett. Concerning our roads, Honorable Speaker, sir, is very much pathetic. And more so is that the CEC for transport, we didn't invite him here because he was a member was in the past, and we were expecting him that he will give us the best. Currently, we are debating that the state of roads in our county is very much pathetic. Concerning fuel, my question is that in the Department of Roads through the CEC Finance, do you have one supplier? Why have a shortage of fuel running maybe from one place all over county? What is the solution that we have to face from the Department of Roads? Another thing also is that I am a victim whereby we were, the roads were, the grading was going on in my ward currently, but abruptly there is no fuel. But the road whereby we stopped is currently at a mess. It's impossible. People now are opting to go for manual to spread the maram. But as a member of county assembly here, representing my people, I wish that we consume the budget that we allocate to the department. We are here looking solutions for this. More so, the supplier for the fuel. Can we have the supply being done maybe to a sub-county so that we can have the efficient competition by the suppliers that are doing us to our respective sub-counties? Another thing, Mr. Speaker, sir, is that road network is the key and everything to our, whereby when you come to school, school-going buses, taking the children to school, it's pathetic. You cannot access. People going to market places, because of the poor road networks, it's affecting everything within our ward. I urge and support this motion that we let the executive be accountable in everything that we have budgeted to the Department of Roads and Maintenance. With due respect also, Mr. Speaker, sir, we request also that there was some work being done by Kazi kwa Vijana. We cannot account. Are they in national? Are they in county? Who are they supervising them? They cannot, no work to be done for drainage, whereby the funds were allocated and to be chaired by the sub-county administrators. We request a serious accountability within the Department of Roads, because it is at a mess. Another thing is that we've been doing some only grading. Where is compacting? Where is maraming? How can you give a 10-kilometer road to a specific ward? Yet the area and the road network is more than 300 kilometers. This is very serious. We need a clear budgeting within the roads department. And that's my take. I stand to support the motion, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable Davis Angutei, I think, and then thereafter we can have the majority leader before we put the question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I rise to support the amendment as moved by Honorable Matata, that this motion is as crucial because members of the public and requesting.
Honorable Sangute, just to have it into perspective, I know the motion on amendment is already done, it's already
Yeah.
disposed of, and are we now talking, or rather speaking to the main motion?
The main motion.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for your guidance. In total support of the main motion moved by Honorable Bett from Kapchorwa, that the CC and the CEO in charge of roads department, they should do good works to the people of Nandi County, because the roads currently are in pathetic condition. For sure, as in Alai, especially my ward of Koyondurio, we have at the rain, the valley of Nandi escarpment. Currently, things are not in good condition. People are complaining that as MCAs, we are not doing the oversight, but we are trying our best. But the issue is in the executive arm. We are requesting them that they should do their best to deliver road network within our county, especially do fairness in the distribution of machinery, and in addition, the issue of fuel, because apparently shortage of fuel when the road is ongoing. In the middle, you find that they say that fuel is not there, and the machine will be stuck for 2 months in a ward without any work. Then thereafter, they pull it abruptly without the consent of the MCA. So I'm requesting that the department to give us a clear framework, especially as in Alai, we are the victims of the said Department of Roads. So we need a clear framework as Alai team, the six wards within Alai. So we are requesting that in this motion, as it is for the whole county, so let them consider different sub-counties in different parameters, because we are not the same. Alai cannot be the same as Mosop. Mosop is somehow flat, but when we come to Alai, the terrains are not in good condition. So we need a dosa, for example, but we have requested for that dosa for almost 1 year, but in Alai we haven't seen it, and yet it should be there. So we are requesting that the department to do something. So on behalf of the great people of Koyondurio Ward, I'm requesting the department to pull up their socks. Thank you.
Honorable Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also rise in support of this motion together with amendment by Honorable Richard Bett and amendment by Honorable Matata. And Honorable Speaker, I've listened keenly the concerns of the members, and you feel that, Honorable Speaker, we have a serious problem in terms of roads, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the people of Nandi elected us to this house so that we can represent them, Honorable Speaker, and do oversight, Honorable Speaker. And when Honorable Tarbey said that we might be observing the work of the Executive, Honorable Speaker, I'm totally not agreeing in that statement, Honorable Speaker, because when you look at the Constitution of Kenya, Honorable Speaker, one of the role of the County Assembly, Honorable Speaker, is the development and management of its infrastructure and institutions, Honorable Speaker. Infrastructure is part of the roads, Honorable Speaker, which actually has been amended by Honorable Matata, Honorable Speaker. And by ensuring that our infrastructure is well, Honorable Speaker, is ensuring that you work with these people, Honorable Speaker, so that we can do oversight even on those preparation of roads, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, when you left those people alone, Honorable Speaker, you may find they will do the shorty words, Honorable Speaker, especially maybe on the issues of diverting water across on the roads, Honorable Speaker, and even the bush clearing, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'm in agreement with Honorable Tuposa, Honorable Speaker, that we have a huge budget in roads department, Honorable Speaker, out of the tune of over 400 million, Honorable Speaker. And when we say we go up to even giving, removing some amount on our pockets, Honorable Speaker, so that we can prepare roads, Honorable Speaker, it is so sad. I can agree some members, you may go out of your way, but Honorable Speaker, we have a very huge budget, Honorable Speaker, in roads department, that if well utilized, Honorable Speaker, we shall see our roads being done to the standard, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'm a member of Kabiet Assembly, Honorable Speaker, for example, Kabiet Ward. And I was doing my own calculations, Honorable Speaker, that we have one crater in Masop, which moves around up to 7 watts. You can see a ward like Sangalo Keblonik, a ward like Kipterwai, which has a lot of terrain, Honorable Speaker. You may find that a crater will serve in a single ward for 1 month, Honorable Speaker, which means in 1 year, you will do a road for only one month, and that's enough for that financially, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, when you make calculations like the recently concluded work, Honorable Speaker, which we did 10 kilometers. In my ward, for example, Honorable Speaker, I have about up to 80 kilometers road network, Honorable Speaker, which means when I do 10 kilometers, it means I've done only about 10% of the total road in my ward, Honorable Speaker. So it becomes a challenge, Honorable Speaker, because when I do maybe once in a year a road and I wait after another next financial year so that I can do another 10 kilometers, Honorable Speaker, it means that by the end of the term, you'll have done only 40 kilometers of the road or 50 kilometers, as opposed to the budget which is being approved in this county assembly, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I was saying the challenge of even Jesumei sub-county, Honorable Speaker, on the issue of crater, Honorable Speaker. As we wait for the acquisition of the new crater, Honorable Speaker, in this assembly we passed the budget, Honorable Speaker, and I'm a member of that committee, Honorable Speaker. We passed the budget of up to the tune of Kenya shillings 35 million, Honorable Speaker. That is for hiring of the machines, Honorable Speaker. And hiring of machines means that we hire a machine like excavator, we had the dozer, we had the creta, Honorable Speaker, so that we can assist those sub-counties that doesn't have the creta, Honorable Speaker. But you find that the CC, Honorable Speaker, doesn't give us a report on the progress of those hiring, Honorable Speaker, so that we can get the machines to do the roads, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to urge this House, Honorable Speaker, so that we can be serious on our work that has been vested by our people, Honorable Speaker, so that we can give the right services to our people, Honorable Speaker. Number 2, Honorable Speaker, when you see like my colleague, Honorable Sangutea, said Aldai has six sub-counties, and they haven't seen a dozer, Honorable Speaker. This motion, Honorable Speaker, I think will cure that problem, Honorable Speaker, because when you see that we have some machines, Honorable Speaker, that some people might not notice it is existing in this county, Honorable Speaker, like the dozer. We have only about 2 dozers in this county. We don't know where it is, Honorable Speaker. You might even finish this term before seeing the dozer. Yet you have some roads that needs opening the way Honorable Chelule said, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, I think because we are approaching the 3 months after approving the budget, Honorable Speaker, and by the law of this county assembly, we have to get a report from CC, that's CC roads and the CO, to the assembly, Honorable Speaker, so that we can get clear reports as to the progress of the roads, Honorable Speaker. I want to support the Honorable Sang, Honorable Speaker, that we approved the list of these people, the CCs and COs, so that they can do the work, Honorable Speaker. And we must take these people to accountable so that they can ensure the roads and all the departments, Honorable Speaker, must work, Honorable Speaker. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, we will be the one to serve in 2027, when people will make the decision, Honorable Speaker. They will chase us on because of not doing our work, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, when we pass the budget in this assembly, Honorable Speaker, I can give an example of, let's say, a department like health, Honorable Speaker. We passed a budget, like we allocate an amount of up to 300 million to the Department of Health to purchase the trucks, Honorable Speaker. And when you move around, you don't get the trucks. So, Honorable Speaker, it shows that somebody is sitting on his or her work, Honorable Speaker, and we must take them to accountable, Honorable Speaker. And I call upon all the chairs in this assembly that you must do your work, Honorable Speaker, so that our people can get the right services, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it is sad when you go to an hospital, Honorable Speaker, and then you find only maybe a Panadol, Honorable Speaker. Yet we have the budget for that department, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, I think this is a wake-up call so that all the members, all the chairs of the committees, we ensure that when the motion has been approved in this assembly, we make a follow-up. We ensure that if there is a CC who is not working, I'm the majority leader, Honorable Speaker. And I cannot say I will not work with the people who doesn't want to work, Honorable Speaker. I can agree with what Honorable Trufosa is saying, Honorable Speaker, that we might agree you can go out of your way and make sure that you allocate some amount through your pocket to fuel a crater. But where does this money, which we have budgeted, go? That's what we must ask ourselves, Honorable Speaker. We have budgeted for the carriage so that we can repair the machines, Honorable Speaker. And it was about up to 15 million. We budgeted in that budget so that we can approve 15 million for the carriage so that we can repair our machines. Why again can we have the machines which gets plugged down, Honorable Speaker? So, Honorable Speaker, we can make sure that we work as a team so that we can ensure that these people work to the latter, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I was checking at the report of the controller budget in the morning, Honorable Speaker, that was tabled in this assembly. You find that 9 months down the line, Honorable Speaker, in the last financial year, only 35% was consumed, was observed, Honorable Speaker, in the Department of Roads. Yet we come here and complain that there is no money for fuel. Yet only 35% at the end of the financial year is being spent, Honorable Speaker. So that shows that there is someone who is sitting on his or her job, Honorable Speaker, and we must work to read those people, Honorable Speaker, before the people chase us, Honorable Speaker. Otherwise, I'm telling these members, Honorable Speaker, I like what Sang is saying, and he has clearly indicated this word the way he said that he has only one location, one sub-location, and one ward, and 2 chiefs. I think he said 2 chiefs. And he has told these people as a warning because his work he can do in 1 week, the way he said. An expansive word like Sangosopa, like Kamoyo Kaptel, you will Kemela Maraba. If Sang finishes his work in 1 week, what about your work, Honorable Speaker? I think we must work so that we can take these people to accountable. Let us not make friendship with these people so that we are not doing our work. Honorable Speaker, we may be making some friendship with these people, the CCs and COs. Yeah, I cannot go direction of what Bett is saying. And we mess with to our people, Honorable Speaker. I was in another Arambi, Honorable Speaker, and people were seriously complaining that there is no tracks. What is happening with the county assembly? So, Honorable Speaker, I support this motion. After we have approved this motion in the county assembly, we need to see the results after 2 weeks, the way the motion has indicated, Honorable Speaker, and I'm happy for the amendment so that we can ensure that in 2 weeks' time, we have the report, Honorable Speaker, to this county assembly. Otherwise, I support. Thank you.
Honorable members, I now put the question on the motion of amendment. I now put the question on the motion on enhancing the administrative measures on management of county road machinery with amendment to that the county executive committee member responsible for roads and infrastructure to within 14 days formulate and share with the county assembly policy framework or put in place administrative measure geared towards the realization of the following: 1, fair, transparent, efficient formula for the distribution of fuel for road machinery for use in each ward. 2, practical guidelines on prioritization of disbursement of county roads machinery to wards. 3, workable mechanism for allocating road machinery to areas that require urgent construction of roads due to unforeseeable emergencies without necessarily prejudicing the ongoing road works at a particular ward. 4, instructions on the involvement of respective member of county assembly in ongoing road projects in the wards they represent. Will as many as of similar opinion say ayes? Aye. And will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? Ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, adjournment.
There being no any other prayer on the order of business today, the House stands adjourned till tomorrow 9:30 a.m.